Ukraine crisis. Thousands march in Moscow anti-war rally. Tens of thousands of people are marching in Moscow in protest against Russia's involvement in the Ukraine conflict. People are chanting "No to war" and "Stop lying." Similar rallies are taking place in St Petersburg and other Russian cities. Ukraine accuses Russia of arming rebels in the east and sending Russian troops across the border. Moscow denies this. More than 3,000 people have died in fighting since April. The truce was agreed on September 5, but there have been repeated violations since then. The fighting began after Russia annexed Ukraine's southern Crimea peninsula in March, the move condemned by Ukraine and the West. Demonstrators, with both Russian and Ukrainian flags, are marching from Pushkin Square to Sakharov Boulevard in central Moscow. Organizers earlier said they hoped up to 50,000 people would take part to denounce what they described as Russia's aggressive foreign policy. Police have stepped up security, but so far there are no reports of serious violence. It is Russia's first major anti-war rally since the fighting began 5 months ago in Ukraine's eastern Donetsk and Luhansk regions. The number of supporters of the pro-Russia separatists in Ukraine held their own rally in Moscow. Earlier on Sunday, Jean-Philippe Breedlove, NATO's supreme commander in Europe, said the ceasefire between the Ukrainian government and the separatists currently existed in name only. He said the numbers of artillery rounds fired recently was comparable to periods before the truce came into effect 2 weeks ago. The situation in Ukraine is not good right now. The number of events, and the number of rounds fired and the artillery used across the past few days match some of the pre-ceasefire levels. The ceasefire is still there in name, but what is happening on the ground is quite a different story, he added. Gent Breedlove said that since last week, some Russian forces inside Ukraine had returned to Russia but remained available to bring their military force to bear on Ukraine. He added, however, that he was hopeful about a new agreement, the so-called memorandum, signed in the early hours of Saturday. That deal envisages the creation of a 30 km 19-mile buffer zone and the withdrawal of heavy weaponry. Meanwhile, Ukrainian military spokesman Andriy Lysenko said government forces would pull back from the buffer zone only if the rebels and Russian troops did the same thing.